Welcome to Sports Today 5 at 5. There's plenty to talk about. I mean, obviously, the athletics competition is going on, and we have a fantastic 8.26 qualification for the Tokyo Olympics in the long jump. We have, the COVID scare for the All England. We have the men's team losing last night despite a Virat Kohli masterclass. But the thing I will focus on today on my show is the women's game. Before I get into that, a 4-1 series loss for England, for India against South Africa. Here's what Irfan Pathan has to tell us about the Howsat app.
क्या आप भी किसी अपने सपने मेरे तुम्हारे टीम 11 पे टीम बना रहे हो और बच्चों के साथ खेल रहे हो? हमारे साथ खेलोगे? हाउस ऐप पे खेलो लेजेंड्स के साथ। हमें हरा और जीतो डबल कैश। Log on to houseapp.com and win real cash.
Let's be clear here. This program is not a rant. This is not about criticizing selectors for the sake of criticism. Indian women's cricket in the last 5 years has been on a massive high. Massive high. They have done better than our women, better than our men. If you take a look at the performance, 2017 final, 2020 final, two ICC competition finals in a spat what 3 years, and one you lost by 9 runs, which you should have won. You should have won that final, and you were unlucky, and I will take that. But the fact is, what you have done with this series is you have lost the momentum. You were in an elevator, climbing up. All of a sudden, you've gone back to the stairs, and you're walking down. As I said, this program is not a rant, but at the same time, hard questions need to be asked. And I will try and suggest what I think is the way forward as well. First things first. Did the players cost us this series? Did selection cost us this series? I think selection did. And what is the result for it? If you take a look at the performances, not in this particular game, but over the last 3 games, look at the bowling options. No Jhulan Goswami, and all of a sudden you have one fast bowler in Mansi Joshi, and you have to start with spin. Same time, Shikha Pandey is cooling her heels in domestic cricket and doing extremely well. So I am at a loss to understand. Today, Monica Patel was bowling at a speed of 90 kilometers for a fast bowler, for a pace bowler. Yes, left arm. Yes, that's an advantage. There's a bit of a novelty. But Monica Patel over Shikha Pandey, anyone? Where is the accountability? What is the logic behind this selection? Please explain, Neetu David, Aarti Vaidya, Mithu Mukherjee, Kalpana, all of you, please try and explain to us, because frankly, you are holding public office. You are holding public office and you are discharging a public duty. And the duty is towards our country. I think some players who have played in this particular series are not worthy of playing for India, and I will not hold back. And you know what you've done? You know what you've done? You have actually dented the confidence of these cricketers. If I was a Monica Patel, if I was a Pratyusha Challaru, today when I would stand in front of the mirror, it was a 3.5 run chase per over. Pratyusha went at 7.5 and over. If I was standing in front of the mirror, I would ask myself this question: am I good enough for international cricket? So what have you done? By trying to experiment, you have actually destroyed certain careers. You have raised self-doubt in the minds of certain players. You have destroyed the confidence of a Monica Patel or a Pratyusha Challaru because they were still not ready for the international grind, and you have pushed them prematurely. By doing so, in the name of experimentation, you have not only cost India a series, you have also lost us some important players. These players deserve better. Indian women's cricket deserves better. So do we. It was important for a Jhulan Goswami with that hand to be rested. Unfortunately, we do not have a backup. Jhulan had to play. She dropped that catch. She was not good enough in the field. And I will be the first person to stand up and say, Jhulan, you weren't good enough. But that is the whole saying, that if you have someone who is not 100%, you don't play that particular player, however a legend she is. Now, in this case, there was no option for Mitali Raj because she had to go in for the win. And without Jhulan Goswami, it was a dark hole. The moment Harmanpreet Kaur went out, Indian bowling was reduced to two bowlers, Rajeshwari Gaikwad and Jhulan Goswami. If you see Pratyusha's spell, three balls every over, either was a half tracker or was one yard outside leg and Nadine de Klerk would rock back and tonk it, or Marizan Kaap would hit over cover or drive it. There was no threat whatsoever. Now, is it her fault? Picking her is not her call. She obviously, like any person who gets the opportunity to play for India, will be over the moon. How many do get an opportunity? Not even 0.5% in 130 crore people. The selectors have done our cricket a disservice by picking this team. Spare a thought for W.V. Raman. Spare a thought for Mitali Raj. A lot of you have been criticizing Mitali Raj, for God's sake. Had Mitali Raj not anchored that innings, India would not even cross 150. Not even cross 150. You feel for Rajeshwari Gaikwad because of that spell, 10-13-3, and thereafter ending up on the losing side. You feel for such people. Cricket is the most individual of all team sport, but it is a team sport nonetheless. Rajeshwari Gaikwad did her best, ended up on the losing side. As I said, spare a thought for W.V. Raman. Is this India's best team? We were heading into the World Cup. It is 10 months down the line. Have we done the right thing by resting Shikha Pandey, so-called rest? Have we done the right thing by leaving out Ekta Bisht? Have we done the right thing by leaving out Tanya Bhatia? Have we done the right thing by not including Shafali Verma? Are these important questions that will be asked of the selection committee? Neetu David was a legend of our game. As a selector so far, what have you done to inspire us, Miss David? Indian women's cricket, as I said, was on song. India played two finals, losing 1-4 to South Africa on home soil. You have pushed our cricket back. Everyone is entitled to a mistake. Everyone is. I make mistakes every day. Everyone does. So you will also have a chance to rectify this, Miss David, and your selection committee. Let's treat this series as an aberration. Let's treat this criticism as constructive criticism coming your way, because this is not hostility. This is constructive criticism from an analyst and a supporter or a fan who feels for the Indian women's game, has forever been a crusader for the Indian women's game. I think if you see the performances in the last 5 years in 50 over cricket, it is extremely important. It is extremely important that you take our cricket forward. It is very, very important you take our cricket forward. And in this series, what you have done is you have pushed it back. This is not the correct way to go about a team selection. So what's the way forward? The way forward for me is very simple. Saurav Ganguly as board president is perhaps the best person to lead this. It is his job, Saurav Ganguly, as board president, to stand up for this game. Indian women's cricket has done better than the men. So Saurav, you have led India perhaps the best ever, 113 test matches. Take up the challenge, you and Jai in his administrative capacity as BCCI secretary, convene a meeting with the W.V. Raman, because the buck stops with W.V., one of the best cricketing minds this country has as coach. Convene a meeting with Mitali Raj, get W.V. Raman, get Mitali Raj, get the 5 selectors, and ask what the vision is. Chalk out the vision plan till the next World Cup, which is 10 months away. We have a chance. We have a chance to give thousands of Indian women the aspiration, the belief, and the courage and the desire to take up this women's game if India does well in the World Cup. Imagine what will happen when those pictures are broadcast on television, how many sponsors will queue up, how many careers would be fashioned. You have a responsibility to this country. So for God's sake, there is an imminent need for a W.V., Mitali, Saurav, Jai selection committee meet where we need a vision to be outlined as to what we will do in the next 10 months. I know series has been planned, but the job doesn't end there. We need to steer our game in the right direction. Ashantadi, an absolute legend of our game, Shanta Rangaswamy. She's part of the Apex Council. You've got to use the experience of Ashantadi. A Diana was part of the COA. You've got to use the experience of a Shantadi, of a Diana, and people of a Shubhangi Kulkarni, people who have been there, done that, to steer our women's game in the right direction. You have five different things that you've lost in this series. Imagine what a Shikha Pandey is going through when she's seeing these pictures. Am I worse than what people who have played here? So am I not as good as to have gotten a chance? What has that done to her confidence? Will she believe that she was rested? What do you mean rest after 15 months of not playing? The girls haven't even played any cricket in a year. What rest are we talking about here? You don't need to give rest. Shikha Pandey is playing domestic cricket. She's not being rested. Tanya Bhatia is playing domestic cricket. Ekta Bisht is playing domestic cricket. They are not being rested. Radha Yadav plays one game and is dropped the second. What is the message going out to Radha Yadav? That I'm not good enough, the captain coach doesn't have faith in me. There are some very important questions that need to be asked of our women's game. And that's what I've done. I've given two solutions. I think Raj is a legend. WV Raj combination can do wonders for India, but they need to be empowered. Do they have the power to select a team of their choice in collaboration with the selectors? The buck stops with them. The criticism will be theirs. We will criticize Mitali Raj for losing this series 1-4 as captain. But will we find out if she has the power? Is she empowered enough to pick a team of her choice? Does WV Raman, is he a punching bag in a boxing ring with his hands tied? It is the responsibility of Saurav and Jai and the BCCI management to look into this, to get all of the brains on the same page, because Indian women's cricket needs direction. Indian women's cricket needs that impetus to challenge Australia and England and now South Africa. And believe me, we have the talent. Believe me, we have corporate support. We have everything, but for the moment, we are going backwards. 1-4 series loss to South Africa is a wake-up call. We should treat this as a wake-up call. We should treat criticism, wear it as a badge of honor like the men's team did after the 36 all-out against Australia in that first test match in Adelaide. That is how this team can improve. All of us who are talking about the women's game feel for this game. That is why we are. So do not shy away from criticism. It will come your way. Take the questions head on. Take the questions and face them. Was Shikha Pandey needed? Without Harmanpreet Kaur today, 2 bowlers out of 5, Pratyusha, Dayalan, Hemlata and Monica Patel, were they good enough to play international cricket? By blooding them early, by picking them early, by experimenting early, have we done justice to these girls? Because they will now feel the pressure every time they walk out for India. So a lot of hard questions. I hope there are certain answers that come our way in the days ahead. Because as I said, you guys are in public office and this sport belongs to this country. When you're wearing the tricolour, picking a team for the tricolour, there's a lot of pride, a lot of honor, a lot of credibility, and most importantly, the prestige of this country is at stake. So you need to take that responsibility and remedy the situation. Redeem yourself. Everyone has an opportunity. You too will get one very, very soon. We have an England tour coming up. Redeem yourself by picking the better side, or more importantly, get back to the drawing board and have a vision plan in place. That's all I will say in this edition of 5 on 5. Please subscribe to Sports Today and ring the notification bell. We will ask the hard questions. We really will ask the hard questions from this platform, because ultimately this platform is for the fans, for the sake of sport that belongs to every fan who love our sport in this country. Thank you very much for watching.